Hey campers! Hi, welcome back to Camp Insomnia.
Back, my campers.
Welcome back to camp.
My children.
Your camp counselors are here. My name is Zach.
And I am your camp counselor, Jacob.
And we are here to tell you some spooky stories today.
And some true crime. And some true crime. True crime.
So this is coming to you at Sunday. I hope you really enjoyed our little short goat man story on Wednesday.
That was exciting.
If you didn't enjoy it, I'm sorry.
Sorry, guys.
But you learned something. And so today Jacob has a
True crime.
Yeah, and I got a paranormal.
Paranormal.
Yeah, and it's still really freezing here in Oklahoma, and it is
How cold is it, Zachary? Or camp counselor
1
Zachary?
degree.
Wow.
It's a 1.
Wow.
1 degree Fahrenheit.
Oh, it's supposed to snow tomorrow, right?
Yeah, tomorrow
and
and
the next day.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And the next day. And then the next day.
And then the next day.
And then the next
Yeah,
day.
today is currently Monday, the 15th of February. Woo! Woo! So you guys listen to this Sunday. So in the future, you guys are in the future. Hope it's great. Do I win $1 million in the future?
I friggin' hope so.
I sure hope so too.
Jeez. Oh, my face is so itchy.
I have nothing to tell about. Like, I don't have any like fun stories or any experiences besides like wanting to get into the story.
You're just that excited.
Yeah, we're just gonna save you guys the heartache of having to listen to us talk for like ever.
Wow, I guess we're really boring our audience.
I mean, unless you have anything else.
Well, for my Valentine's Day.
Oh, that's right, Valentine's Day. Duh.
Yeah, Valentine's Day was yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
I cooked a Zachary, camp counselor Zachary, and our little janitor Macy. I cooked them up some ribeyes with a red wine reduction with some red wine thyme infused mushrooms.
It was so good, y'all. Y'all missed it.
Camp counselor Jacob is the best chef there will ever be.
He is the best chef. I'm dying. My throat was like, it's that steak. It was really good. Yeah, it was really good.
It was pretty good.
And I had 2 steaks. You need 2 ribeye steaks.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah, because I'm the best camp counselor brother ever.
It was a good Valentine's Day. Little sibling Valentine's Day.
Yeah, but after that, we got really full, and we just drank wine, and we passed out on the couch.
Yeah, fun times.
So that's how I spent my Valentine's Day. Hope your guys' Valentine's Day was pretty awesome. Just don't spend too much money on them.
Yeah, if you're in love with somebody, just don't buy them a $50 giant teddy bear. It's not worth it. Yeah. What are you gonna do with it?
Nothing.
Just sit there. But if you want to, I mean, more power to you. More power to you. And if you're not in a relationship and you're lonely on Valentine's Day, love yourself, girl.
Or hit my DMs.
Oh my God, Jake. Love yourself.
Yeah.
You know?
Right? Yeah.
Right.
Of course.
If you can't, what does RuPaul
Treat
say?
yourself.
No, RuPaul says, if you can't love yourself, how the hell are you going to love somebody else? Can I get an amen?
Amen.
Exactly.
Amen.
All right. We're going to move on with the story.
All right, guys.
We're going to get into it.
Roll on into it, baby.
Roll on into it. So let's gather around the campfire.
Kick up your feet, roast those weenies, and burn those marshmallows.
Burn them.
Burn them.
Light them on fire.
All right. For our true crime for tonight, it's going to be about Mr. Bernie Tidie. Now, this true crime takes place. It takes place in Carthage, Texas.
Ooh, okay. Texas.
So,
yeehaw.
Yeah, like that freaking episode we just did. Deep in the heart of Texas. If you guys know, you know.
Yeah.
But location where it's at, Carthage, Texas. It's a small town. The residents compare the town being, if you blink it, you'll miss it, and it's a crying shame because it's a cute little town. So, it just kind of reminds me of the scene of Cars about Radiator Springs.
Oh, okay. It's a cute little quaint little
town. So,
okay.
Everyone that is a resident there is either a Methodist or a Baptist by choice. So there's literally only 2, I guess, well-known religions there. Mm-hmm. No one there is really an atheist or whatever, so they're really religious there. They pride themselves on being very small and very friendly. Most of the residents there are God-fearing, and they talk about Jesus a lot.
All right.
So,
Bible Belt.
Yeah, gotta love that. So, and there's probably a lot of gossip. Little old lady gossip, like, "Oh, Susie Q, did you hear that?"
Susie Q didn't go to church. She going to hell.
Yeah, pretty much.
What the hell?
So it's like your modern day Salem, just without the witches.
Oh, God,
just a
without
lot of
the
people
witches.
just talking shit. In the 1930s, there's a little fun fact of Carthage, Texas. In the 1930s, they found natural gas reservoirs that made certain Carthage residents filthy rich overnight.
No, that's nice.
I know. Why can't that ever happen to me?
Why can't I find oil or gas, right? Was it oil or gas?
Natural gas reservoirs.
Yeah, I wish I found natural gas in my. I create natural gas every day. I wish people would pay me for that.
Gosh, I wish
Actually,
I was rich.
people do pay for that. Now that I think about that.
Do they really?
Jacob, if you make natural gas, people will pay to hear your natural gas.
I didn't know that.
TMI.
Oh,
Okay,
you're
moving on.
that flew right over my friggin' head.
Oh my God.
Anyways, back to my little fun facts.
Mhm.
Although they might be stupid rich, you live in a small town, and a lot of gossip can be very brutal, especially coming from some old white ladies from church.
Mm-hmm.
So they'd be like, "Well, why isn't he giving all that money to church?" Or I heard he did this. So just basically
Just
talk a lot of
gossip.
shit and just kind of tarnish your reputation.
Yeah, small town, nothing to do, a bunch of rich people. That makes sense.
Yeah. So a lot of those people that got wealthy overnight didn't want to risk their reputation, so they left town. They were like, "Fuck this shit, I'm gone."
Fuck this shit, I'm out.
So Marjorie Nugent, which is going to be one of our main characters of this true crime. She was one of 3 daughters, her being the oldest.
Okay.
Those 3 were born from a successful grocer, aka her daddy. They had came from old money, but Marge practically wore that wealth in her sleeve. She acted like an asshole because she had money and she could basically flaunt it however she wanted to. So, yeah.
Must
If
be
you
nice.
weren't had money, you're basically dirt to her.
Yeah, you're dead to her, but man, at least she's rich.
I wish I was rich. We're gonna be saying that a lot.
Yeah, we're poor.
Very poor. She didn't vibe with people who became rich overnight. For those people who gain, all that wealth for those natural gases.
Yeah.
Her standards were based on appearance and the prestige you had in your family. So you had to be like.
So yeah, it's very much like status quo.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah,
So
if you're poor, you're poor. If you're not, and if you're poor, don't talk to me. If you're rich, hey, we're best friends.
and it took a lot for her to feel comfortable with you. So you had to meet up to her standards and how she feels that individual should be and look and talk and they eat whatever. So she's very like high class.
That's annoying.
I know too many of those people.
Yeah.
So when she was living in Carthage, Texas, she had a hard time looking for love. So what does any ordinary person do? They moved to Louisiana.
Louisiana.
Yeah. I wonder why she moved there. Do you have any guess, Zachary?
Money?
Because she was an asshole and nobody liked her in Carthage.
Oh.
So she tried
Oh,
her
gotta hit
luck
the
all
mic.
the way in Louisiana.
Wow. Damn, that's gotta suck. You suck so bad and people hate you so much that you moved to Louisiana.
That's terrible. But then again, she did it to herself. But soon enough, she did find a man there named Rod Nugent, who was a reputable oil man who practically made millions. Wow. Must be nice.
Must be nice. Well, because she's in that inner circle, so of course she's gonna connect with someone
Of
at
course.
a higher prestige.
Gosh, I can't talk. She can hook me up with one of those millionaires.
Right? It'd be nice.
It'd be
As
awesome.
long as they're nice and have a soul.
Years later, they had a baby, Rod Jr. So, Rod Nugent, Rod Jr.
Cool.
Cool.
Had a kid.
Yeah. They stayed they stayed in Rod's Old Town Midland until 1989. They moved back to Carthage only because Marge wanted some form of power to move back and just be like, look what I got. I made all this money. Just basically flex on the Old Town's people there.
Okay.
At her
Nice.
hometown.
Even though they all hate her.
Pretty much. when they moved and when they settled into to Carthage, Marge influenced Rod to invest in a bank and oversee their operations and to make nice with locals and local investors, a.k.a. making that money, making that cash, bitch. So everyone in the town loved Rod, but Marge, she was an asshole. So everyone in town loved Rod, but Marge was an asshole to everyone, only because this gives her an extra excuse to rub into someone's face how wealthy she was and how she was better than everyone else.
It must be very nice.
So, Rod was the real one. Just, those two were like polar opposites. I don't know how he fell in love with her. It's probably because of that.
Probably because she already had money,
wallet.
and maybe she was only good to him and no one else. I don't know.
Maybe those millions of dollars are talking to her and like, you know what? You're looking like my cute Rod. In addition, she lived in a beautiful gated estate she constructed because she's worth millions, but she penny pinched everything like she had no money and would haggle dinner receipts like her life depended on it and would find any little thing to get her food cheaper, aka she's a Karen.
Yeah, that's so dumb. If you're a millionaire, then why would you haggle for the price of a meal? You can afford it, clearly.
And her claim being like the food wasn't fresh or, it's just a terrible service and she would never tip, I would assume.
Yeah.
So Rod, it would embarrass the hell out of Rod. Be like, what the heck?
Yeah, I would too.
Rod, what does it matter? We have all this money,
I know, whatever.
Annoying.
This lady.
But when she had moved back into town, her family shut her out only because she was being a total jerk, and even her own sons stopped talking to her because they would fight about everything, including Rod's career and the women that he would date.
I wonder if she was a very overpowering mother. Like, you need to be a lawyer. And was like, this woman's not good enough for you. Like, nothing was good enough to meet her standards. She was probably one of those kind of moms.
It's so annoying.
It is annoying because it's like, really?
Like, I tried so hard and you're like, no, try harder.
No.
To put in perspective of how much the townspeople hated Marge when her husband Rod passed away in the hospital, around Rod's age, which is like around like 75, the elderly that receive certain surgeries usually don't make it out.
Yeah, because they're so old.
Yeah. So what happened was Rod went to go get like a checkup. Yeah. They found something and they said, you need surgery ASAP. He didn't make it. So,
well,
that sucks. Sorry, Rod.
R.I.P., man.
But no one showed up to her husband's funeral except for 8 people. And usually the people of Carthage love social gatherings, especially funerals.
Oh.
Which is weird. It's like, hey, you want to go down to this funeral? Yeah, let's go.
Well, because they're always a small town in that tight-knit community, so I bet you everybody knows everybody, so of course everybody's going to be there at that funeral.
Yeah, but usually around their social gatherings, the townspeople say, yeah, you'll have like food for weeks, like casseroles, stuff that they would bring.
Damn, I want to die, Jacob, so I can get casseroles for weeks.
Sorry. But out of those 8 people, Bernie Tidie, one of her other main protagonists in this story, the funeral director who proceeded over her husband's burial and was the one who really truly saw the good in Marge, but from the outside looking in, they are totally different from one another.
How the hell did he... So the funeral director to her husband's funeral,
right?
Like, was like enamored with her.
Yeah,
I saw the good in her. She's not that
light
bad.
of God in her.
Oh my god,
gosh! But like I said, from the outside looking in, they're totally different. One being, everyone in town loved Bernie. Everyone in town hated Marge.
So yeah, it's like two opposites attract.
It's like, what? So a little backstory about Mr. Bernie Tidie. Like I said before, everyone in town of Carthage loved Bernie. Bernie loved Carthage. So it was practically his life.
Okay.
He was described to be the sweetest man to ever hit the town of Carthage, Texas.
Oh.
So he was like a little sweet man. And plus he has a kicking mustache. That's better than mine. Although he was a town's mortician, he was a musical director of the local playhouse, and he was the lead soloist of the First United Methodist Church choir.
He was a very good guy.
This man can sing.
Yeah. He was in everything. He was very much a townsperson.
Yeah.
He was like the choir director to what else? Funeral director.
Yeah, he was pretty much everything.
Also, I apologize I keep yawning. I'm just like, I don't know why. I just got really tired all of a sudden.
Sorry, folks. I just bore him. He just doesn't want
No, it's not that. I keep yawning. So if you guys are watching this, like via video, I keep yawning and I feel like I'm going insane. I'm like, stop.
It must be all this cold weather putting you to sleep.
Yeah, this cold weather, this warm. Well, the room is getting really toasty, so maybe that's why. It's so,
Probably.
like, oh,
Plus, you're in your cozy cardigan there.
so I can just fall asleep.
The town often questioned Mr. Tidie's sexuality because he was single, and they described him being a little light in the loafers.
That's what an eye roll.
Oh God, yeah.
You're super nice. You're super sweet. You're very doting to everybody around you. You must be gay. I hate that.
Yeah, their motto was real shit if they prided themselves as being so nice.
I hate that so much. Ugh.
And I put a little side note. That's the stupidest way to determine someone's sexuality based on speculation.
Yeah, it really is.
That is so dumb.
Or the way that they act, or the way that their actions. Oh, come on.
Campers, don't stop being nice, no matter what anybody tells you.
Yeah, if you know what, if you're really nice, you know what, that's awesome. And if someone calls you gay for being really nice, who cares?
Who cares?
Who cares? Who gives a flying shit? I don't care. I don't care if you're gay, bi, trans, straight, I don't care. Jake doesn't care.
I really don't care.
We don't care. Up again, this is a different time, and I have to accept that.
Yeah. It's 2021, guys. It's 2021. Times have got to change.
Yeah.
You just got to be a better person in the end.
Yeah. And be who you want to be. Be who you want to like.
Yeah.
All right. That was TED Talk with Zach and Jake. And moving
on. He often gravitated towards elderly women after funeral service, comforting them in a way, seducing them under his charm. So he would have this southern charm and just be like, "Oh, come here, my doll face. Come here and come to Papa Tita and let me just rub your back and tell you how good everything's going to be."
Don't do that. I don't like that.
So basically, he would gravitate towards these old women after funeral service, like I guess any funeral director would be.
That's a little sus, though.
Well, I guess, yeah. But like in a way, I guess you have to stay professional and just kind of help the mourning, just be like, I'm sorry for your loss. If there's anything I can do, let me know. Reach out to you.
Steal your money, drain your pocket.
Maybe.
This funeral is gonna cost like $100,000.
But trust me, the elderly ate this up. I mean, my guess is probably because they haven't received this kind of attention in years from their significant other. So they probably just really craved it, and that's why they're like, "Oh my gosh, she cares for me."
Yeah.
So that could just be another, I guess, what is it? Theory,
excuse.
So when Marge's funeral came to a closing, Bernie would often offer services to the mourning, like I said previously, for like anything that they needed. Well, surprisingly, Marge took up upon this offer and became reliant on Bernie and used him for an errand boy. So he's probably like, shit.
Yeah.
Like, no, that's not what I signed up for.
I just want to check if you're okay now. I'm your errand boy.
Yeah. Eye roll.
Okay.
Over time, Bernie was able to crack this old withered heart she grew to be so fond of his company.
Oh, okay. Well, now she likes him.
Yeah.
And he likes her.
Yeah, because he saw the good in her.
Whatever.
Occasionally, him coming over, complimenting how great she looked, and even invited her to some of the local playhouses.
Oh, he took her out.
Yeah, so they would go on little miniature dates and whatever, just to get her out of the house of her husband passing. So I guess in a way, just kind of doing his job,
being nice,
being really friendly,
being nice.
Yeah.
I know this ends badly, so I'm only waiting.
Fast forward.
Mm-hmm.
This man got this woman to do a complete 180 from her old ways, and she was out in town, greeting people with respect, and she can finally enjoy herself rather than harassing grocery store clerks. The locals put it like she was like lightheaded with Bernie. So
she was becoming a better person.
Yeah, and she started enjoying life, finally. These two became so close with one another, they traveled the world together. #SugarMama.
Ooh, must be nice.
They were able to travel to Rome, Prussia, London, Paris, France, and they would send postcards everywhere they wanted to their loved ones in the towns of Carthage. So wherever they went, they just sent postcards to them. Just be like, hey, I'm here, bitch.
That must be fun.
Sucks to be you.
That must be so nice.
When they came back, the town, the rumors about Bernie's alleged gay sexuality was laid to rest. Him and Marjorie were romantic with one another, from what the townspeople would see. Like, okay, so maybe
I mean, ill, but okay.
Yeah, so maybe
maybe he's not gay because he's probably fucking this old lady.
The only one thing about it. Yeah.
That's so stupid though. It takes him to hang out with a woman to be like, oh, he's not gay anymore. That's how that works. I hate it.
So his preference was on dating women that were older, much older, like Marge old. Marge and Bernie were wild out here. Okay, they were wild as hell. Marge was a cougar from the grave.
Yeah, no, just kidding.
She was pretty old. Occasionally, they would come to town after the trips, and they would stay in Marge's estate. Although she would enter town, she would make her presence known, but in a different way. She would donate to foundations and organizations and her church hundreds and thousands of dollars. And for my little side note, I said, this is sounding like the plot of how the Grinch grew a heart and was being nice to everyone for the town.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah, you know? So,
okay, well, at least she's growing a heart. She's giving money back. She's
giving back to her community.
Yeah.
Cool. I mean,
cool. Bernie's rubbing off in the good way.
Yeah, if it means like making nobody hate you, I mean, I guess that works. Just buying their love.
Yeah.
When it would be the time to do the ribbon cutting for these foundations and field projects, Bernie would be the only one that would attend to these rallies.
So she wouldn't be there?
She would not be there. It would only be Bernie. One could argue that she'd be tired. She wanted to make it out. But then again, I think that he was the only one that was really attending these.
Yeah, and well, then too, he was her errand boy, practically.
I guess, and I guess she was funding these programs. You know, maybe she'd just be like, "No, you go for me." So
yeah, that's true.
He could be her proxy.
Okay.
So I mean, I could buy that. Whatever.
Okay.
One resident in Carthage became uneasy after all these on-the-go travels. Her stockbroker, Lloyd Tiller.
Mm-hmm.
Marjorie's investments had in 96, so this all takes place in 1996.
Mm-hmm.
Marjorie's investments in 96 had a positive gain from her donations, and Lloyd needed her to sign some paperwork. But Marjorie would never return any of his phone calls, so Lloyd was being respectful and thought maybe, well, she doesn't want to be bothered. But soon those weeks turned into months. So to give you a little timestamp of how long, it was in the beginning of January, and it was going on to the middle of February. So it's kind of long. Like,
yeah, I haven't heard anything back.
What's going on? So he became very worried and decided to scout out her property. Like any good broker, especially with a high-profile client like Miss Nugent herself, he began doing some detective work, peering through windows of her property, knocking on her doors, calling her name, only to find nothing but cake dust furniture and old mail. Interesting.
Okay.
By this time, he contacted Panola County District Attorney David Buck Davison to confirm that Marge was out of town or on vacation.
Okay.
Or, she was still in town.
Okay.
So, David Buck Davidson began reaching out to the chairman of the bank, which Marjorie was a huge stockholder, and basically asked them, when was the last time you seen Marge or came in contact with her? Apparently, the chairman had went to her estate not too long ago for some paperwork, but only Mr. Tidie answered the door and informed the chairman that Miss Nugent was bedridden, and he quickly shifted the conversation of how he could be of service and how he could help with anything that the chairman needed. Sounds a little suspicious, but then again, Marjorie is old as shit, so I wouldn't be surprised she's dying on her bed.
That's true. That's really true.
So,
little sus. She's missing. She's apparently bedridden.
But then
she's
again,
still signing paperwork, but she's not signing.
People are still under that Bernie Tidie charm. Everyone loves Bernie.
Yeah. Okay.
So then, for months after going on a wild goose chase for this old lady, they would call Mr. Tidie and ask, "Where the hell's Marge?" For one being that she's bedridden, and then for one being in the hospital
Okay.
or out of town. For the past few weeks,
So there was always an excuse.
always an excuse. So he'd make an excuse for her.
Okay.
But he said that she was in hospital out of town and she was sick and she was unable to travel under her conditions. So this man basically said he doesn't want the people of Carthage to know where Marge was at and not to like start any rumors.
Mm-hmm.
So he told Mr. Pete Davidson of asking like where,
Pete Davidson is the cop, right?
Pete Davidson was the attorney.
Oh, the attorney.
Panola
Okay.
County
Gotcha.
attorney. Basically, he was saying that only tell them that she's staying in a hospital outside of town.
Okay.
So, and that she's going under a different name, and he specifically told him not to notify any of the family because she was afraid that they were going to take her and throw her in a nursing home.
Okay, I mean, that's understandable. I mean, that's believable. But then, like, did the attorney just not ask what her pseudonym name was or what hospital she was at?
Yeah.
Well, that's stupid of him.
Bizarre.
Yeah.
So, in addition, Bernie informed Mr. Davidson that Marjorie was afraid of the money that Bernie inherited from her, that her son would catch wind that his mother was dying and would try to take that money away from Bernie.
Gotcha.
So just a lot of like, oh no, they're out to get my money. And,
Yeah, they're gonna fuck Bernie over and
poor Bernie.
my love, my sweet, nice, not gay lover.
Yeah, they have only known for a year.
A year. Okay.
So, after these phone calls, Bernie told, I guess now, Mr. Pete Davidson and then investigators, because the investigators gonna involve like, yo, where's this lady?
Yeah.
That he'd be glad to tell them more in detail what's going on after he would be back from his trip. But they did their own little investigating because they're investigators, duh. Under the name Mr. Tidie gave them, undergoing Marge's name in the hospital, and they found no one that matched her description. Surprise, surprise.
Well, yeah. She wasn't there.
Of course, not even a thought.
Oh, no.
But even still, they thought that Bernie was trying to go the extra mile for Marge's privacy.
Oh, my God.
So,
She's missing.
So, like I said, gotta have
There's
that
something-
Bernie charm, man.
There's something fishy going on.
Police. So, failing to contact the police, or the investigators, I just say, that he had come back into town to meet with them. They eventually tracked him down at a pizza parlor with the baseball team giving them a speech. Basically, he was in this pizza parlor with the baseball team, congratulating them on their game, and he was gonna feed them and say how proud he was. But after his little speech, the investigators pulled him away and took him down to the Panola County station for questioning.
So did no one pay for the pizza party?
I guess. The kids are like...
Parents are like, we have to pick up the bill now? Damn it.
Bernie! Since everyone knew Bernie, they gave him practically the benefit of the doubt and asked him what really happened.
Yeah.
He eventually broke and told them that he had indeed lied to investigators about Marge's whereabouts and that he wasn't sick, and that she wasn't sick at all, but she had been kidnapped. Oh!
See, I wouldn't believe this at all.
Nah, I wouldn't.
He'd been lying this entire time, and she's been kidnapped. But then, I'd be like, did you pay the kidnappers any money? No, you've been funneling that into the city.
Be like, you're full. Actually.
This is fishy. Okay, so she's been kidnapped. Okay, let's go on that tangent.
And the only way to get her freedom was to give them thousands of dollars.
So he needed more money.
Yeah.
From the city.
Gotcha. From the city.
I don't know about this.
The investigators didn't believe him.
No, I wouldn't either.
So they called the son of Marge, Rod Jr., to go to the house with them and to open the door of the house and to look around. Okay. To see if there's any clues, if there's any break-ins or, whatever. Whatever they can find, just be like, okay, maybe he is telling the truth.
Yeah.
So the boy didn't have the keys. So they just kind of brought him down there for nothing. But he stuck around with the investigators to see if they could find anything.
That's unfortunate.
So they basically took off the hinges of the doors and they made their way in.
But don't you need a warrant for that?
I'm pretty sure they got a warrant for it, but this is a lady that's missing, so they could basically have the consent of her son, maybe.
I guess I don't know how that. I don't know how that
or
works.
just missing person. She could be dead or dying or whatever, and just to find any clues. So I guess
Well,
I guess it just gives her the
I don't
merit
know how the
of
law
just
works. Anyways,
going
moving
out.
on. Here they're in the house.
Upon investigating the house, it was covered in dust. No activity was present in the house at all. Like nothing. So
she wasn't living in that house.
no.
Well, remember, she's been kidnapped.
Yeah. Ooh.
That's why it's been so empty.
But the newspapers were still in the same spot, and they hadn't been touched in forever. And the house had been shut down since November of last year, of 1996.
Damn,
So
this house been empty for an entire year.
yeah, pretty much.
Dang.
Crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So, especially when they made their way into the kitchen, they found a rancid smell coming from the fridge.
Was it her body?
Let me get to the part.
Okay.
So, as they made their way towards the kitchen, they opened the door, and it was food.
Oh. Okay, just rotten food.
So it was just basically rotten food that had
Blah.
literally just been sitting there since last year of November.
Ugh.
So it was rank in there.
Oh, thank you.
So it was pretty stinky.
Ew.
So, not far from the refrigerator, their kitchen connected to their garage, and when you walk through the threshold to the right of you, there was an outdoor freezer.
Okay. So like the one we have is like
Yeah.
a giant outdoor freezer.
Yeah. So they made their way into the garage, and they saw that the freezer had been mysteriously taped shut.
Okay.
Like, okay, weird.
Was there any power to this house?
I wouldn't.
Yeah, probably because if the freezer,
Maybe. Yeah, I don't know.
or the food just went bad in the refrigerator. And it was
probably.
already on.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm thinking that it was like shut off.
That's a good question because in the documentary they never really said that the power was off. Only
I'm pretty sure it was on then.
So maybe I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe it was just automatically paid because she was rich and just automatically takes it out. Who freaking knows? Anyways, but basically it had been taped shut. So curiously, the investigators decided to open it, and when they opened the fridge, they found like a wig in the corner of the left side, the top left side of the fridge. I'm like, what the hell? So they're moving all these TV dinners around, and they see a white sheet, and they're like, okay, what's this?
Yeah.
And they unraveled it, and it was Marge's popsicled body.
Oh man.
Yeah, so she had
The
been
mean old lady's dead.
So she's crammed in there and just frozen.
She wore a wig.
Yeah.
Oh well, that's sad.
Old lady got no hair.
She's got no hair.
So investigators try making conclusions that maybe, her son or the younger sister had any foul play in this, but they really didn't, because what would be their motive?
Her money, her inheritance.
Well, it's funny that you say that, because when investigators try to be like, oh, you're trying to go after her money and the will, we're like, well, we were never even in the will. So the only person that was in the will was Bernie.
Gotcha.
Since Bernie was so close to Marge, he had her change the will to having all of her belongings go to Bernie. So all the money, all her everything. And basically kicked out her family and just like, yeah, you don't get nothing.
Yeah.
So eventually coming to their final conclusion, Mr. Tidie, in his testimony, that he said that she would be super nagging, over the top with her errands, and she would have Bernie, do for her, like comb her hair and clip her toenails, and honestly degrading him. So it was like a really toxic relationship.
Yeah.
I said, poor Bernie, this was probably like a super toxic relationship, and he was truly in love with her and didn't really do it for the money. But I mean, sooner over time, you're like, yo, I really hate this old woman.
Or so we think, because maybe he was just using and abusing her, and getting really close to her, being goody so that he could then kill her and take all her money. I mean, it could be all a front.
Could be that.
I mean, there's two theories. Maybe he was being really genuine about loving her.
Well, yeah, from the start,
Or maybe he was just being two-faced.
Well, I mean, he could really truly loved her from the start, and then once he saw this money coming in, could possibly just change it for the worse. And he was just being so, deluded and be like, well, it's not changing me. I loved you for her, and no. So, but on the day they're heading Bernie and Miss Nugent were heading to the garage from the kitchen, this is how the murder took place.
Okay.
They were heading to the outdoor fridge, and she was bickering them about something, and she was walking in front of Bernie, and Bernie was right behind her, so heading towards the garage. And Bernie just about had enough of her shit, practically. So there was a .22 hunting rifle leaning against the wall, and he decided to shoot her 4 times behind the back. Dead. So he panically was like, what am I going to do? So he wrapped her with some sheets and stuffed her inside the outside fridge. Hopefully to, one, come around and figure out what to do with the situation and give her a proper burial.
I don't believe that shit.
So, I mean, he had an entire year to figure something out.
Okay, if he did it out of like passion, right? He was really mad at her and he did it out of passion. He would have just shot once and realized, oh my God. Actually, he probably wouldn't have shot her at all after picking up the gun and realized he would have come to, no, he did that shit on purpose. So. And then he put her body in the freezer and then waited an entire year and lied the entire time about it. No. So. I don't believe any of this shit.
Could be a really big bullshitter.
That's what I'm thinking. His niceness is a really good front. That's just my theory on it. Maybe he's a really nice guy. I don't know.
Well, that's why everyone's like so infatuated with Bernie, because he's so nice to everyone in the town. He's like, well, how could this big teddy bear just do such a thing?
Yeah.
So the townspeople, when they found out that Bernie had killed Miss Nugent, they said they would have done the same thing like 10 times over because she was such an asshole. Nobody liked her.
That's so fucked up to say though. It's just still a life.
Yeah.
Being taken.
I wouldn't say that to anybody, but it's like the townspeople said she was really hard to like, and they really just
didn't like her. But that's not good enough reason to. Oh, I don't like her, so I'm gonna just fucking shoot her in the back 4 times. I would have done it 10 times over. You're like, no, you're still taking someone's life.
It's really
regardless
bad.
if you don't like her or not. Unless you're like a Hitler, then yeah, you kill Hitler. But she's just a lady with a lot of money. Yeah. Who was just a bitch. You know what I mean?
People are tripping, dude. So, Bernie Tidie was sentenced to first-degree murder and life in prison with a $10,000 fine. The people of Carthage were outraged with the sentencing because Bernie was such a great man and how he helped the community. And even though he did what he did, most people gave him the modern-day Robin Hood. So, when he was in court, the court was literally divided about like, well, he's innocent.
Yeah.
The other court was like, no, he's not. And the only reason why he got that sentencing was because they recorded taking Miss Nugent's body out of the freezer and seeing her body. And they said she looked like a monster because she was covered in ice. But apparently when all this was happening, before they found out that Miss Nugent was just like killed, he had wasted about like $3 million in her name. Buying cars and donating all these stuff. But it brings me back to that one point is he was the only one there for all those ribbon cuttings. So this happened a year and nobody found out. Yeah. Until they finally found it, which is crazy.
Yeah. He had all this time to sit on it. He didn't do anything.
I find it crazy. No. Like, what?
He's not a good person. He killed someone and was like, oh, I'm just going to keep going on with life and keep her in the freezer. Yeah. No, it's BS.
So, Mr. Tidie is still in prison. He tried getting out on parole. They denied him because he murdered someone. But yeah, that was the story of Mr. Bernie Tidie of Carthage, Texas.
Damn.
Insane.
Insane in the membrane. Boop, 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 boop. So next time your husband or wife dies and there's a really nice funeral director that wants to butter your biscuits, you tell him no, because he might shoot you in the back 4 times and then take all your money and stuff you in a freezer and freeze you and be like, I didn't mean to do that. It was an accident. No. Don't be like that.
Yeah. Let's not.
Well, it's time for my story, campers. Jacob did a true crime. He did a true crime, so I'm doing a paranormal. So I'm doing. It's going to be a multiple parter. It's not going to be back to back. I want to spread this out during the length of our podcast, just because there's so much information that comes out of this place. Okay. But I'm going to be talking about the Wampanoag tribe and the Huckamock Swamp in the Bridgewater Triangle. Ooh. Yeah. So if you don't know what the Bridgewater Triangle is,
okay, tell me.
It is like about 200 square miles within Massachusetts, and it forms a triangle.
Big surprise.
And these points are located at certain parts in southern Massachusetts that have the most paranormal activity, so it makes a triangle.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
So a lot of stuff that's claimed to be seen in this like paranormal triangle is like poltergeist, orbs, UFOs, fire, spirit, like fire spirit,
Okay.
like balls of fire just like appearing. We got Bigfoots, we got giant snakes and thunderbirds, and a lot of other crazy creatures and murders.
Oh,
A
boy.
lot of people compare this place to the Bermuda Triangle.
So it's literally every bad thing in the world in this one place.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. Yep.
Let's not go there.
So we're going to talk about a couple, two different places. We're going to talk about Huckamock Swamp, and then there is another thing later on called. I have it in here. I promise you. Yep. That's
You
it.
got it?
That's it.
That's it.
It's
That's it,
called.
folks.
I have it. I am reading. It's by Tauntaun River.
Tauntaun River.
Yeah, that's the other place we're talking about. But I got to give you guys some history real quick on the Wampanoag tribe, on the indigenous people that lived in Massachusetts, because a lot of people think why the Bridgewater Triangle is so active is because of what happened in Massachusetts past.
Okay.
Because it's really bloody and it's really sad.
Oh.
Yeah, indigenous people, don't do very well with,
The white man.
European settlers.
Love that.
Or Spanish settlers or any kind of colonists coming in. So the Wampanoag people are indigenous to the area. They were a loose confederation of several tribes in the 17th century, but today Wampanoag people encompass 5 officially recognized tribes.
Wow.
Yeah. They lived in southeastern Massachusetts and Rhode Island in the beginning of the 17th century. Their population around Martha's Vineyard was about 3,000 Wampanoag people.
Wow.
Yeah, really large. And that was just one area.
Wow.
Remember, there's 7 other recognized tribes. Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot.
Yeah, you Europeans don't stand a chance.
Yeah, no, it was a lot of people. So from 1615 to 60. Well, I like how you say that. They don't stand a chance, but they have disease.
Damn.
So from 1615 to 1619, the Wampanoag people suffered an epidemic. Look what we're living in right now. Long suspected to be smallpox. Modern research shows, however, that it has been suggested it might have been leptospirosis. It's a big word. Bacterial infection, which can develop into Welly syndrome, and it has a high fatality rate. And it literally almost wiped out the Wampanoag population.
Jesus fuck.
Yeah, this bacterial infection. Again, as we all know, indigenous people don't do very well when it comes to encountering diseases and bacteria.
They just get wiped out.
Yeah. R.I.P. Also, researchers suggest that the losses from the epidemic were so large that the colonists were able to establish their settlements in the Massachusetts Bay Colony more easily. Because so many natives died, the white people were like, oh, well, look, all this free land. Everybody's dying. Let me just move on in.
Free real estate.
Free real estate.
Wow.
Free real estate. More than 50 years later, King's Philip War, which happened from 1675 to 1676, of the Narragansett and their allies against the colonists and their indigenous people allies resulted in the death of more than 40% of the surviving tribe.
Wow.
Yeah, a lot of people died due to King Philip's War.
Wow.
Many male Wampanoag people were sold into slavery in Bermuda or the West Indies, and some women and children were enslaved by colonists in New England.
It's terrible.
Yeah, it is terrible. So the tribe largely disappeared from historical records after the 18th century, probably because they all were enslaved or sold or killed. Although its people and descendants persisted. So they're still alive today. The tribe is still alive, very much
good.
so. Survivors continue to live in their traditional areas and maintain many aspects of their culture while absorbing other peoples by marriage and adapting to economic changes and cultural needs in the larger society. And since 1993, the Wampanoag people have been working on their own language revival project, starting with educating children in it.
Oh, that's good. I mean, they're bringing back their culture.
Yeah, their culture, their language. And I know at the Cherokee we do that as well. We have like free language classes. I only know so much. I know like Dogwa Dowa Naka, which is like, hello, my name is Painter. I know like what if I swear I'm probably gonna butcher this. Akielewene, I think it's like, please go walk my dog. I think I can't remember.
I don't know any Native American.
Yeah, I know like the alphabet. The alphabet's like insane. Look at me, look at getting in touch with my culture, learning the Cherokee. But yeah, so they're teaching a lot of their youth this, which is great.
That's great. Yeah.
So let's talk about the King's Philip War and what that. So let's talk about the King's Philip War and what that was all about, because it was really crazy and a lot of bloodshed and a lot of revenge.
I don't like this already.
So here's a little story on King Philip and his oranges. Oranges? Yeah, it says oranges.
What?
His origins.
Oranges.
His orange.
Origins?
Origins, yeah. Where he came from.
Campers. I am so
I'm sorry.
sorry.
I'm really tired, okay? So his dad, Massasoit, was among those Indians who adopted colonial customs. So King Philip was not a white guy.
Oh.
He was a Native American.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and you'll know why his name is King Philip.
Okay.
So his dad, Massasoit, was among those Indians who adopted colonial customs. He asked the legislators in Plymouth near the end of his life to give both of his sons English names. The older son, Wamsutta, was given the name Alexander, and his younger brother, Metacom, was given Philip. So they got English names. After his father's death, Alexander became the Sachem of the Wampanoags, which is like the head honcho.
Right.
The colonists invited him to Plymouth to talk. Right, it's like, hey, you're the new head honcho.
Mm-hmm.
Come hang out with us. Well, he on his way back, he got sick and died. I wonder why.
Well, dang.
Maybe he came in contact with white people who had disease. So a lot of the Wampanoag people believed that he had been poisoned and that he was killed. So since he passed, Metacomet, or King Philip, became Sachem of the Wampanoags.
Oh.
So he became in power because his brother died. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So here's how the war started. Dun dun dun.
Oh,
This was
my
like the little cusp. His brother died. They thought he was poisoned. When it was really, it was just really disease that really did him in. But on June 20th, 1975.
Okay.
1675.
About to say, like, dang, this is really recent.
Yeah, I know. So Wampanoags attacked colonists in Swansea, Massachusetts, and laid siege to the town. They destroyed the entire town in like 5 days.
Oh.
And this ultimately led up to King's Philip War. This is what started it.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, they wiped it out, like burned it down, like just dirt. Yeah, and they didn't care if you were not fighting against them. They killed women and children. Like people that were just
what?
hey, good morning, well, bah, you're dead.
For what?
For being on their land.
That is the
They want 'em out of there.
stupidest reason.
I mean, someone moves into your house, you're gonna want to get them out.
But would you really kill women?
No, I wouldn't do that. But
Yeah.
I'd kill the people that took my land without my freaking permission. The United Tribes in southern New England attacked 52 of 90 colonial settlements. They attacked a lot of people.
Damn.
And they burned them down to the ground. Now, during the summer months, Philip escaped from his pursuers because while this whole war was going on, a lot of people dying, a lot of things being burnt down. They were now hunting after King Philip because he was the one to help start this, and other tribes were helping as well. And a lot of other tribes lost a lot of life because they were helping, but it was for a good cause. They were like, we want our land back. These people suck. Get out.
Yeah.
Leave. And so he escaped from his pursuers and went into hideout on Mount Hope in Rhode Island. Colonial forces attacked in August, killing and capturing 173 Wampanoags. King Philip barely escaped capture, but his wife and their 9-year-old son were captured and put on a ship at Plymouth, and they were sold into slavery in the West Indies. So there goes his wife and kid, sold into slavery.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did he ever hear back from him?
Nope. That was it. About gone.
Wow. He lost him forever.
Yeah, he lost him forever.
Wow.
Yeah, so you can imagine he's probably really pissed.
Yeah.
So on August 12th, 1676, colonial troops surrounded Philip's camp and they shot and killed him. They found him.
Well, damn.
So he was drawn and quartered, and they placed his head on a display on a pike placed in front of Fort Plymouth for 20 years.
They hate him that much.
Well, they wanted to show the natives, look, if you want to go to war with us, that's what's going to happen. You're going to die. Your head's going to go on a pike. Do not mess with us. For 20 years.
Wow.
Yeah. So the estimated death toll of this war was 500 English and over 3,000 indigenous people.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. And surviving non-Christian indigenous people were rounded up and sold into slavery. So if you're native at the time, be like, I love Jesus. Don't put me into slavery. So indigenous people can't get a break. I think we all know that. So I think this is where the natives get even. And by even, we're going to talk about Huckamock Swamp.
Okay.
Huckamock Swamp. Now, during the 17th century, the Huckamock Swamp was used as a fortress by the Wampanoag people. They would use it as like a fort in a way, because they'd be like, oh, come on, white people, come into the swamp, we're in here, come shoot us. Well, the natives knew how to use the swamp because that was their land. They knew the ins and outs. They didn't, so they had a huge leverage up on colonists, and a lot of the colonists would die in the Huckamock Swamp because they didn't know the lay of the land, and so that's how they effed them over.
Wow.
Which is smart.
Yeah.
Which is really smart.
Get Shrek in there. What are you doing in
In
my swamp?
So it was really strategic for Metacomet's or King Philip's war.
Okay.
So during the 18th century, 19th century, Euro-American settlers deemed the swamp to be worthless. So after they kicked everybody out, they were like, we're moving on in. And they're like, damn, I can't grow nothing in the swamp. Damn, I can't fish. Damn, this place fucking sucks. This is some bullshit. These white settlers were like, fuck this place. The Indians going to have it. So they left. And they also tried to drain it at one point to make farmland, and that just failed.
Wow.
Yeah. So, gosh darn, the settlers could have used their land. Oh, snap.
Darn.
So, why this place was so important to the natives and why they tried to protect it as much as possible was because they believed it was it had a lot of religious and spiritual purposes to them, and they also used it for hunting game. So they did a little hunting there and stuff, and fishing. And the Huckamock was named that. The swamp was named Huckamock because it comes from an Algonquin term meaning a place.
Whoa.
I'm good. So Huckamock Swamp, like I said, comes to Algonquin term meaning a place where spirits dwell. Yeah, it's a little spooky. So in addition to life-sustaining activities, much of the swamp referred as to Hobomuck or Huckamock, they used it as a burial ground. So they would bury their dead in there. They would hunt in there, fish in there. Spirits lived in there, and then also they believed this deity lived in there.
Oh.
And his name was Hobomuck, and he was a chief deity of death and disease.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, so they're like, when people would go out there and hunt, they'd be like, good luck, you might not come back because the deity of death might kill you.
Yeah.
But if you come back, like, whoa, you made it, you're a really good warrior and hunter, we love you, thank you so much.
We won't kill you.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's why like a lot of bad luck comes out of this place, and a lot of really creepy things comes out of it because it is a place where spirits dwell. So as of today, some of the most compelling stories come from this area in the swamp. A lot of craziness happens. We get things that are just hella spooky. Cryptozoologists study this area like crazy because there are so many sightings of Bigfoots. Big feet.
Bigfootsies.
What is the plural for Bigfoot? Big feet?
Big fit.
Big feets? Whatever. There's also giant birds, snakes the size of buses, giant African cats, and red-eyed dogs that are like the size of like a
Let's
minivan.
not go there, campers. We're going to cancel that field trip.
This is why our camp isn't in a swamp.
Yeah. No.
So John Baker, he was one of the people that I talks about his sighting a lot with the Bigfoot.
Right.
He was out fur trapping in the area, and he happened to have something follow him. And he was like, what's following me? Let me get in my boat and let me like paddle out and see if it follows me along the shoreline. And it did. He said he saw like this like 8-foot tall looking hairy thing, and it smelled like skunk. It was really nasty. It stank. And he said he knew it wasn't human because nothing would be that tall, that big, and that stinky.
So it's a Bigfoot.
Yeah, so a lot of people think, a lot of people say Bigfoot stink.
Yeah.
Like they smell like skunk, or they call them skunk apes.
Okay.
I think that's what they call them, something like that. So that's one of the many sightings of the Sasquatches or Big Feet in the area.
Okay.
Also, there are creatures like the Thunderbird that happen in this area. I want to do a whole episode on the Thunderbird because that's a really crazy like origin story, what the natives believe, and sightings of them. But this huge raptor bird can be seen flying around Huckamock Swamp, and the indigenous people call it a Thunderbird.
Thunderbird.
In 1971, Norton Police Sergeant of the police department claimed to have seen a large bird with a 12-foot wingspan.
Holy shit.
And roughly would be about 6 feet tall.
Wow.
So as tall as me, and maybe a little shorter. So the weird and funny thing about this Thunderbird is that where he saw this giant bird happened to be on a place called Bird Hill.
Oh, how freaking funny.
Yeah, what a coincidence. Like, I saw this massive bird on Bird Hill.
Bird Hill.
So I'll cover this for another time because the story is really wild.
Okay.
But to move on, people have seen enormous snakes in the swamp, the size of cars. Like, I mean, massive. There was like a story about our European settlers like running out of the swamp because they saw this massive snake slithering about. Not like an anaconda. Like, I mean, like the size of a car. Like massive.
No.
So yeah, they don't. Yeah, no, thank you. People have also seen African cats. And this is Massachusetts. This is not Africa.
Yeah.
But people have seen African cats.
Okay.
And in 1993, the headless carcass of an African serval was found.
Oh, what the heck?
So it kind of looks like a cheetah. But yeah, they found one.
How did they get there?
I don't know. Some people thought maybe someone owned one and it escaped and they never were able to like get it back. But after that one died, they still reported seeing giant African cats in the forest.
Weird.
Yeah. A lot of parents during the 90s were not letting their kids go play out in the forest because they're afraid a giant African cat was going to eat them.
Someone call Joe Exotic.
Yeah. So Huckamock Swamp's got giant cats. Also, there's a creature called the puckwudgie that lives in the swamp as well. I'll cover him for later, but basically he's like this like 2-foot giant hedgehog looking thing that's furry and has like a pig nose.
Okay.
And some are really nice and some are really devious. Some want to, hang out with you, and some want to literally skin you alive and eat you. So I mean, pick your poison.
Oh boy, what would you do?
Some, and normally they invite you in, like, oh, come here, come hang out with me. You're like, okay, and then like 50 of them will jump you and kill you, or 50 of them will hug you with love.
What would you do? Would you go towards it?
I would go towards it, and if something happened, I'd just punch them all in the face.
Yeah, and just book it out of there.
Pretty sure I wouldn't survive after 50 of them jumping me. We'll never find out. I guess we got to go to Massachusetts.
We'll try it out.
So there's also been tons of disappearances in here as well. There's this one girl named Evelyn Packard in 1916 who went and like she was gonna canoe in the swamp on a river, and basically she went missing, and then they later found her drowned body on a riverbank, and they claimed it as an accidental drowning.
Right.
But because this place is so weird, many people were like, I don't know about that.
Yeah.
But the weird part about finding her body is that it led to more questions than answers, because they found her body next to like this covered stone that had this engraved inscription on it. Yeah. So it's called Solitude Rock. Okay. And a poem was carved into the rock, and people still can't understand what it's trying to say. I mean, I don't even know what it's trying to say. Yeah. If you guys can decipher it, awesome. Decipher it, let us know. But let me read it to you. Very old English. It goes, all ye
God,
who in future days walk by Nagatusset stream, love not him who hummed his lay, cheerful to the parting beam, but the beauty that he wooed in his quiet solitude.
I don't know.
I don't know what it means. I don't know what it means at all. It was just really weird. And it was really old. People were like, this dates back to like 18 something.
Wow.
In the swamp. It's a giant rock. Really weird.
I couldn't even figure it out.
Yeah. So on this other, remember I told you that I cannot talk today. I'm so tired. So this other place takes place.
Oh wow.
I'm dying.
Really?
I'm dying. In Tauntaun River, right?
Okay.
This story is really cool. It reminds me of Indiana Jones. So basically, these group of researchers and archaeologists found an ancient burial ground belonging to the indigenous people. And what do you know? They start digging it up, of course, because they're archaeologists. That's their job.
Mm-hmm.
But don't be disturbing burial grounds. But they did anyway. So this took place in 1928 and was led by Edmund Delabarre, a Brown University psychology professor. He led the expedition along the banks of the Tauntaun River in Berkeley. And on the bank of the Tauntaun River was this place called Grassy Island, and they began to dig. And then, lo and behold, they discovered the burial ground, and this is what's so crazy.
Okay.
Again, this didn't take place in the Huckamock Swamp, but it still has to do with indigenous people, so I want to tell it anyway.
Okay.
So as they were digging, they found the bodies of indigenous people, and they found that these bodies were covered in red ochre, this like red clay powder kind of stuff.
Okay.
And the minute it was exposed to the air, it bubbled up and boiled and dissolved the skeletons and bodies and dissolved into the ground.
What the hell? Weird.
Some freaky stuff, freaky stuff. And then they took Polaroids while this was happening, and pictures and stuff. Not Polaroids. This was 1928.
Yeah.
What am I saying? Well, they were taking pictures of it, but all the film developed black.
Huh.
Yeah.
Very mysterious.
Yeah, very mysterious, very freaky. That's why you don't mess with indigenous people being buried.
Yeah. Ever.
No, it was like Indiana Jones. It was like bubbling, dissolve, and then nothing remains. So, yeah, that's all I have.
Wow,
that's all I have for the Huckamock Swamp. Huckamock Swamp's really crazy. If you want to get eaten alive by an African cat, strangled by a giant snake, or picked up by a giant bird, or want to smell a stinky ass hairy beast, go to the Huckamock Swamp.
This is the place to go.
And if you want to see skeletons boil, go here. Very freaky place. The Bridgewater Triangle is massive, and there's a lot more stories. I want to cover them later.
Yeah,
and Jacob, I can have Jacob cover some too as well. But this place is like wackadocious.
Be pretty cool to go. I mean, I wouldn't want to get killed by a big ass snake, but like, I like to go see like what the big hubbub is about.
Yeah,
That'd
go
be pretty
investigate. Cool. If we get really popular, y'all, we can do like Patreon episodes and we can go investigate.
That'd be so cool. Like get like private tour and stuff. And oh my god,
y'all, we need your help to. We got to be spread. We want more listeners and more followers so that we can do these kind of fun things for you guys. So please share.
Please
share.
We want to get out there. Maybe we'll do cool stuff and maybe start making our own merchandise and doing really cool stuff. Have you guys onto the show
for you guys, and doing listener stories. We want to do all these things. We need your help. We need your help. So if you are listening to us on Apple Podcasts or any kind of podcast platform, there is a review section. Please leave us a 5-star review. It really does help us, and then also helps get more get us more traction so that more people can listen to these amazing, scary stories. And then also. Listen to us on Spotify, Camp Insomnia, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Overcast, Buzzsprouts. We have a Linktree on our Instagram.
We're just everywhere.
Which our Instagram is
Camp Insomnia _podcast.
You did it.
Woo!
And then our Twitter is
Camp Insomnia.
Good job. And our YouTube is
Camp Insomnia.
Good job. Yay!
I got it.
You got it. So make sure you guys follow us on all those platforms. And then before we end the evening, Jacob has a joke.
Okay. Let me think of one real fast.
You can look it up. I'm just going to cut it.
Wait, I think I might have one just top of my head. It's coming. It's processing. Okay. So there was a sick banana, and he goes to the hospital. When he goes down and was waiting for the doctor to check up on him, the doctor asked, "How are you peeling today?"
Oh, stupid!
Oh, right off the cuff, baby!
So dumb. Oh my
Dang.
God.
Oh my God.
How are you
Wow.
You're such a dork.
How are you peeling today, y'all?
Oh my God. Well, thank you guys for
Fantastic.
listening today. Hope you
Thank
take
y'all.
that joke to your family and have them laugh. And thank you all for listening. It really means the world to us.
Thank you for
Yes,
tuning in.
For tuning in. And we will see you next time, campers. See you next time.
Till next time, campers.
Till next time. We love you.
We love you.
Bye, campers.
Bye.
Bye. Oh.